This is a Glassbox Media podcast.
Okay, guys, so I have something I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
Because I don't know what my feelings are
Okay.
on this subject. I don't know how to feel.
Your face.
Okay.
So the Coachella lineup was just announced.
Yes. We have Childish Gambino
Yes, amazing.
on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We have Ariana Grande on Saturday. And we have Tame Impala on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm not sure
I'm
who
kind of
that
a
is.
Friday, Sunday.
Tame Impala is amazing.
They're so good.
So good. I love Kevin Parker. He's incredible. Download the album Currents, which is a couple years old now, but is still very, very good.
Well,
I would go on Sunday.
through this.
Should I go Friday?
I'd
Oh,
go
yeah.
Friday. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, you know how I feel.
Yeah. You hate him.
I loathe him. Just
Yeah.
kidding. Please call me. But no, through this, I discovered that Idris Elba is a DJ.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know how to feel about this. I keep going back and forth because by default, actor who is a DJ, I want to
What
roll my eyes so fucking
If
hard.
he is fucking
What if he slams?
incredible.
Yeah.
What if he plays your favorite music? House.
Oh,
I actually do like.
No.
I would be there for it. I'd be like, glow
Dude,
stick.
only if I was dancing. If I was
Idris
dancing,
Elba
that'd be fine. But
was like doing mashup of like 70s soul with some like dubstep, I'd be
Dude,
like,
I could
can't
get into it.
even
Like I could
handle
get into
if he's
it.
that
girl talk.
hotness.
I mean, okay, all right.
Let's talk about that because our New Year's Eve party,
I know.
that DJ was no girl talk.
No.
No, but the second room did have
Much
all
better.
of my high school hits.
I
so I
know,
was
it was
very
so-
interested
you were
in
like,
it. Very
yes.
happy. I was living my best
We were
life.
giving Anthony serious side eye. We're like, Anthony, you don't know this.
Yeah, don't pretend like you know 303. You
Don't
don't,
know
but
that.
that's fine. But yeah, I couldn't decide because I was like, generally, when I hear that a celebrity or actor
Yeah.
is a DJ, I'm just like, okay, go fuck yourself. Like,
All I can
so
see
hard.
Is Lindsay Lohan
Get
in a
Mykonos.
out.
Mykonos.
Get out of here. Yeah, I'm not okay with it at all. But then I'm like, but it's Idris Elba. Like, he inherently makes everything look cool. One.
Yeah.
And then two, it turns out that he was a DJ before he was an actor. Like, he started in music at 14. And so I'm like, okay.
I'm gonna need to deep dive. I want
wanna hear
video.
this.
I'm sure we can find it on YouTube.
Oh my God, little baby Idris playing music.
Oh my
baby.
God.
Aw, Presh. So Presh.
Totally. No, I'm gonna deep dive that. I'm gonna see if he's any good.
Yeah,
I'll
so
come
I'm
back to that.
willing to be like okay with it. But when I heard it, I was just like,
I can't reconcile that in my head though.
It's hard.
Like right now.
well, he's gonna
it's
play
hard.
a DJ on a Netflix movie.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yes.
Oh,
Hold
I
on.
wonder if that's why they're doing it at
For
Coachella.
promotion, maybe?
No, I wonder if they're doing it so that they can film at Coachella for the show.
like fucking
Like they
Star
did-
is Born
Yeah,
style.
A Star is Born.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's gonna be on a show called Turn It, or a movie. I don't know, something on Netflix called Turn Up Charlie. Turn Up Charlie,
Okay.
where he
Okay.
plays. There's a picture of him DJing here.
Cool.
So,
Interesting.
interesting.
All right. Yeah, withhold
see
judgment.
about
We'll see about
My
that.
mind is open.
I don't know.
My mind is open to it. We'll see.
My mind right now is just still fucking processing my very first date of 2019
Oh, I need to
Mhm.
hear
in all the ways that I may have screwed it up.
Oh, God.
So,
You probably didn't.
Probably not.
That's your anxiety
okay.
talking.
First of all,
Anxiety is a liar.
I have major anxiety only because, drum roll, I fucking went on a date with a guy that I like.
Oh no.
And that's a first. And I
Scary.
mean, I liked him right off the bat.
Wow.
Uh,
So like instant chemistry.
Instant chemistry. I have not felt that.
I don't think that one side feels that. You know what I mean?
I don't
like when
think
there's
so
chemistry
either.
like that, I feel like, well, I mean, unless you're maybe a little
Loose.
Well, let's go
like,
through
you
the
know.
facts
cuckoo.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I will
And you're
want
not.
I will want feedback.
okay.
This is about Alan Tudyk, not the real Alan Tudyk, but we've talked about
Alias
him
Alan Tudyk.
on the podcast before.
I have a question. Sorry to interrupt you. Does he know he looks like Alan Tudyk? Did he mention that at all?
No,
because he looks
didn't.
a lot like Alan Tudyk.
I mean, he looks balls on like Alan Tudyk.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, he didn't mention it on the date.
Interesting.
So, okay.
He didn't mention it. So
like,
I don't know if you noticed this.
I'm sorry. If I looked that much like a celebrity, that I'd have to go
Wear a
in.
T-shirt with them on it.
I'd be like, no, I'm not, but I know I look like them.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah,
I would,
and they'd be like, who?
I would first up come out the gate like that.
Exactly. No. So like, because he lives like kind of farther away, but I'm there like once a week for band practice. We ended up meeting after band practice this week, and he said he was going to be there at a certain time, and he was.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
He beat me there.
Oh, wow.
Okay, check
Number one.
Check one. We got good. Okay.
Number two, instant chemistry. I like him immediately. We're talking and we're really vibing on stuff, and I mean I'm just like smitten kitten. I can barely like hold eye contact with him because I'm just so like, but you know, there's the subtle like arm touches and stuff, and we're sitting side by side at this really cute wine bar.
Oh, cute.
And I'm like, oh, this is so great. So we get through one glass of wine, and he's like, he gets another. So I'm like,
Yep.
He was feeling it because it was easy
He
for
had
him
an
to
out.
not.
He could have been like, oh, I've got an early morning.
Exactly,
gotta go.
because we didn't meet up until like 9:15. So if he wasn't feeling it, he could have shut it down
right away.
right then. So we end up staying there until like 11:30, and then he walks me to my car,
Oh, nice.
which he should because it was
Yes.
kind of a sketch.
Yeah, you're
neighborhood.
in like downtown, probably.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So then he gets in the passenger side,
Okay.
and he grabs my face and kisses me, and I mean my heart just like.
So he's feeling it.
He had to have been.
I'm sorry, Christina. When you said that he got in your passenger, I was like, you had to have liked this guy because my first instinct is like murder, murder, murder. If you get into my car without me prompting you, like, please don't get in my car.
No,
But
it was
no,
like totally like unprompted.
No, he was
and
feeling
he
it then.
wanted to-
He was absolutely feeling it then. He had no reason to do that.
And here's how I probably messed it up.
Oh,
So that was Wednesday night. He asked me to text him when I got home, which I did. I said I was home safe, and he was like, "That was fast," because it is fast when there's no traffic.
traffic.
Yeah,
That's
late at
LA.
night.
It's either in an hour and a half there and like 15 minutes back.
Exactly.
Right.
So always, that's
Right.
always into downtown. Going into downtown is a nightmare, and
Yeah.
leaving downtown is
I was
always
like,
a
"Oh,
piece of
this
cake."
is super easy." And then didn't hear from him yesterday, and was like, "Okay, no, this is fine." But I was
Right.
like, "I really like this guy. I really like this guy," and I'm like, "Don't text him.
You're
Don't
like,
be the
your
first
brain's
one.
saying, don't do it. Don't
do-
do it. Don't do it.
But so then I did it today, and I'm listeners, let me know if I did the wrong thing. But I'm gonna lay it out. This is who I am. I'm like an honest, forthright, upfront kind of person. That's just who I am. I understand that the game is,
Yeah.
guys like the chase and all that, and you don't want to be too available or whatever. But I've never played the game. I don't know how to play the game.
I honestly don't think the game works. Like, I don't
It's not a
think
real
it
thing.
really works practically. We always talk about that. Like, it's set in stone rules and you do it because it works. And I'm
Right.
like, I don't think that that's the case. Most people that I know who have had lasting relationships didn't do that. They didn't wait like 3 days to call or text. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
'cause if you like someone, you want to hear from them.
Yeah.
And not only that, I'm like, if I want to have a relationship with somebody, knowing the type of person I am, I'm very communicative. My number one love language with a bullet is words.
Uh-huh.
I'm always going to be upfront about my feelings and where
And-
I'm coming from, and
Yeah, and I feel like faking it and then coming in with your personality later is what leads guys to be like,
Yeah.
she's crazy.
Exactly.
She got all clingy with me. And it's like, no, she was trying to play this like cool game. That's
Game.
not who she
Right.
is.
Right.
And then when she showed you who she was, you were like, oh shit. You know, where I'm just like, you you should just be who you are. And like, if they can't fucking handle it or they don't want to talk to you, then you fucking know. And like,
Correct.
thank you
Yeah.
next. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Exactly.
Because I
So,
said,
but what did you say?
I
Okay.
said today, hey, I think I thought I was being fucking cute. So
you were being cute. I saw it.
I forget exactly how I worded it, but I thought about it entirely too long for sure. I said, hey, so I know I'm supposed to play cool and all that, but I've never been cool. Laughy face.
Right.
So I'll be upfront and say that I liked hanging out with you and I'd like to do it again sometime.
I think yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I don't honestly, here's the thing. If that really scared him off, thank you next.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're fucking
Bye.
way too sensitive.
Like,
If that like scares you away,
Yeah.
then that's not somebody that I know that you really like him, but like
Yeah.
if that scares him,
Yeah.
that's not someone who's going to be able to handle even a modicum of
Well,
actual mature
I
like
just don't
relationship.
want to play that
Relationship.
game where it's
Yeah.
like I don't like not knowing where I stand, and
Yes.
I'll return the favor. Like, hey, just so you know, I liked that. That was fun. It wasn't like let's fucking go out and let's date like immediately because I still want to get
name our children.
That's the thing. Here's where I stand right now. After dating him, I'm like, I had fun and I'm excited to hang out with him again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where
that's
I
all
feel.
it is.
That's
too. It's
all
just
it
like,
is.
That doesn't
And
mean we're gonna get
literally
married.
is
Yeah.
the very first date I've had where I feel that way.
Mhm.
Like a year after dating people on Tinder, I'm like, this is the first date I went on where I was like, I had a genuinely good time and I like this guy and I would love to go out on another date with him. And so
I think you
I
played
didn't know
an
what
ex-
to do.
No, listen. Your
I didn't know what
anxiety's
to do.
your anxiety's gonna go no matter what. Like it's
Yeah.
gonna go no matter what.
Right.
But just
and
know
it's
that like
definitely going with no response to it.
I
was
think
just
you've
like,
done. I
yeah.
think you did exactly the right thing.
I do too.
You know, and like if he doesn't respond, I think that's kind of a dick move. Because bare minimum, even if he didn't feel the same way, he could respond and tell you that.
Yeah.
And then you know that he's like chicken shit if he
Yeah.
doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so like
Yeah. And that's the thing is that, like, everyone today, you know, we were going back and forth on our girl group chat. And I was like, well, that's the answer. Everyone's like, no, he's busy. But I'm like, I'm also like, it does.
Our friend Amy said somewhere between 7:30 and 8:30. So we still have about 45 minutes
Okay.
to an hour.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I'm just like, dude, like, if someone sends you a text and they're putting themselves out on the line like that, I don't know, though. Here's the other thing.
he could have been nervous because sometimes I get text messages like that where I'm like, I know I need to be
Or-
careful with my response. So I'll like write, erase, and then be like, I'll do this later.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
and
yeah.
then like
That's
and,
kind
you
of
know,
what's in my head too. And I mean, not to like, you know.
I love this. First of all, I
Fem-splain
love the
the
fact
hell
that
out
we
of
are
this.
like on the podcast
Yeah.
at a point where I'm like, this is a first, where I'm like analyzing
Well, and I
having a
think
really good date with somebody and like actually legitimately butterflies in my stomach, nervous to see like
That's
there's
not trying to explain away anything. Like if he, you know, he will figure out what it is at
Right.
some point. But it is this anxiety in the in between where you're like, what's happening? Like,
Yeah.
where do I stand? Did I fuck all this up? And honestly, I agree with Keegan. I think, you know, he is a very busy person. You've told us what his job is, and he is clearly a busy guy. The thing of it is that he absolutely could have looked at that and been like, you know what? This is going to require like a real thoughtful
it
response.
needs my full attention.
Right.
Sometimes that'll happen to me when I'm like sometimes I can multitask and I can do a lot of stuff.
right.
But if I'm in the middle of something at work and I get something that I'm like, okay, I need to actually like sit down and formulate a response to this, I'll set it aside, like finish everything I'm doing and then like come back to it so I can think about my answer.
Yeah.
You know, and
I've been,
who's to say that that's really what's happening here, but
Right.
it's a possibility.
it is. Yeah.
It happens to me all the time.
There are like two things. Number one, like I'm laughing about all of this because there's a Dorothy Parker poem or story called The Telephone. And it's like, I think it's written in like the 30s or 40s where it's a woman just sitting by the telephone, like stream of consciousness, like willing it and it's really like crazy. And I'm, like,
times have not changed.
It's
At
not
all.
Worse now,
At
worse.
all. Exactly.
You're like,
because-
watch pot won't boil.
Exactly.
You gotta leave this
Yeah,
phone.
it is actually worse now because it's like
Yeah.
you got that phone on you,
And you
boo.
gotta watch those dots. You're looking for the dots.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
you've got that phone on you. Like it's not like you gotta go find a payphone to call me back, get
Right?
a quarter or anything.
What
Like
is worse than a dot and stop?
oh,
yeah,
nothing.
not much.
Nothing.
Not much.
No. And thank
Being left on red.
Oh,
being left
yeah.
on red. That's worse. When you know they've read it and they're just like
never mind.
set their phone down.
2% battery life. Dots stop. Red.
Oh
God. Oh God.
They're like, my
Yeah.
phone died, I swear. You're like, oh.
No, I'm talking about your phone's at 2% battery.
Yeah,
oh, if
you're like,
your
you're
phone's
waiting.
at 2%. So, guys, we don't have a fuck, marry, kill. Like, we didn't select one. So,
Yeah, we didn't play.
should we
I think
play
we
that
should
game?
do Batman's.
Batman's?
Batman's. All right.
I think that's a fun one. Or something, because I'm a geek too. So,
Okay.
of course, we keep doing ones that are super me. Sports, geek
Yeah,
stuff.
God damn it, Cassie. Way
Well,
to
I'm the
hog all the
I'm the
fuck, marry,
official
kill.
dude.
I know,
Dude
but
of those
here's the
podcasts.
thing: if we did mine, it would be like famous writers from the Lost Generation, like
Ugh.
Hemingway, Fitzgerald, or James Joyce, and people would be like,
Oh,
I
God.
know.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know any of them.
Gotta
I don't know any of
fucking
them.
kill.
I know Hemingway, of course. I mean, I don't know about them enough.
God.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I'm lost already.
That's a terrible one.
"It is. It's a tough one."
I mean, we do have. I think we should save Marvel though, because the Marvel movie will be coming out soon, or the Avengers movie will be coming out soon.
Right.
I do think
So-
Batman would be fun. Well, they just did Aquaman too. We could do DC.
Ugh, DC's the worst.
The
DC's pretty bad.
worst.
But I did just watch, last night, I watched The Dark
Batman's
Knight
great.
with Anthony.
fucking Batman
The Dark
was
Knight
great.
was really good.
Oh, Dark
all
Knight
of
was
the
a
Dark Knight.
phenomenal movie, but that
trilogy.
literally is the exception.
Yeah, the Dark Knight trilogy and is
so
the
good.
best, and then like Wonder Woman was okay, and
Wonder
then
Woman was
everything
great.
else is terrible.
I've heard so many great things about Aquaman. I just
Oh,
am
God, it
not
looks-
interested.
it looks like
at all.
a disaster. Like it looks so bad. I don't want to watch it
Yeah.
at all.
I have
I've
no
heard
desire.
amazing reviews. I've heard people who are like, "You absolutely have to see it. It's
But
amazing."
I
You
also
have to
I'm
haven't
not
like-
going to.
I haven't
Just
seen
don't
the
care.
last two like Avengers, so I'm
Oh,
like,
well,
I'm literally like,
you lost me on that one. I am a
yeah.
super Avengers fan. I love anything Marvel.
I'm
really.
behind. I love Marvel, but I'm behind on all of them. Like truly, I'm behind on all of them. But I mean, we could do some variation of that, or we could do something broader if
You
we
know what
wanted
I
to
do
do
know
like.
we all like X-Men.
I was gonna say X-Men. Like, why don't we do an
Marvel.
X-Men?
Oh my god, I'm
Fuck,
so
Mary,
excited
kill.
for
Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix coming out this
Yeah.
year. That's my nerd.
I
There
think we
go.
should do Gambit,
Oh.
Cyclops, and
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Ooh. Okay. All right. All right.
I got mine.
Okay,
I
you
got
wanna
mine.
go first.
Sure.
All right.
I am gonna fuck Wolverine
Hell yeah.
because I mean,
Yeah.
like, do we need to even go
Right.
into why?
Uh-huh.
It's pretty clear.
What about
I'm the
Professor
Jean
X?
Grey of this situation because I am going to marry
Marry
Cyclops and kill Gambit.
Well,
Gambit's a wild card.
I'm
Ba-doonch.
I'm gonna marry Gambit.
Gambit will make
I
you
do
laugh.
like Gambit.
Gambit will make you laugh. Actually, that's a really good point.
I know.
Yeah, fucking Scott is
I
such
know.
a stick in the mud.
He's so
is
white bread.
So
You know what's
Boring.
getting? You know what's getting me on?
he's like a
Cyclops?
wet bread sandwich.
You know
Yeah,
what's getting me on
he's-
Cyclops is James Marsden.
I do like
I have
James
to not
Marsden.
think of like
Yeah.
James Marsden. I have to think of the character.
James Marsden is so
'Cause
hot.
James Marsden's
He's too
smoking
pretty.
hot.
Yeah.
He's not smoking hot. He's beautiful. He's a beautiful
Can
Can we
man.
talk about the hottest in this X-Men though is fucking Fassbender.
Ooh, as Magneto.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I want
Yeah.
11 of his babies.
Right now.
I want 142 of his grandbabies. I want
142. Jesus
very
Christ.
specific and a lot.
All of
I
your kids had a million kids.
love Fassbender so
yeah, he's
much.
Yes.
He's hot.
He is hot. But okay, so we're going characters though. Like,
Yeah.
not the actors. We're going
Okay.
the X-Men characters,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, in that case, I'm with you. I will kill Cyclops and marry Gambit because
Yeah.
Gambit will keep you laughing.
Yeah.
He's funny.
yeah.
And Cyclops,
You
I don't want to be
definitely definitely do not want to let Wolverine finger bang you, though.
That was so loud and so in the mic. I'm so sorry.
Ow, in every way. Ow.
Oh,
I'm like squirming so hard.
wow.
No.
That is legitimately an instant hysterectomy.
Oh my God.
Come on, Christina.
But come on. Like,
I mean, he can control it though, right?
Yes.
Like, I don't want to
mean,
get him too excited. Though.
I definitely
something
don't
to
want
be
to
worried
find
about.
out if there's a glitch in the Matrix.
You're
You know what
ruining
I mean?
everything.
He gets a boner and then all of a sudden it's like,
Oh my
No.
God. Yes.
No, no.
Okay, but I'm sticking with it. I'm gonna
I'm
fuck
sticking-
Wolverine.
I'm sticking with it too. I'm
Yeah.
gonna gamble with that.
Well, here's the
but-
thing, because you can't marry Wolverine.
No.
Because he's never going to get fucking old. What are you going to be, like a 90-year-old grandma with this like hot?
I mean,
you can't.
not mad at it.
You
Dude,
can't
but-
fucking marry
My
him.
head didn't go there, but you're so right.
Right?
You're so right.
So you got to, so it's you got to fuck Wolverine.
Right.
I always rooted for Wolverine with Jean Grey though.
Me too.
I was like,
Me
I wish
too.
they would have
Because if
ended up
anybody
together.
else is going to live forever, it's probably her, or Rogue, who could totally just
Heal
I know.
heal
herself.
herself back up together.
I went back and forth between who my favorite was.
I
It
love
was
Rogue.
Jean Grey 99% of the time, but there were a few times where I was like, God, Rogue is the shit.
I'm going to say
Rogue
it.
is the shit.
Unfucking popular opinion, but this is coming from a 90s kid who grew up with the X-Men.
You like
cartoon.
Jubilee.
Yeah.
You like
I
Jubilee.
know you like Jubilee.
I
That's
do,
so
and I don't give
funny.
a
I was like,
fuck. I don't give a fuck what anybody else says. I love Jubilee.
I liked Rogue.
Fuck you and your firecrackers. My favorite holiday is 4th of July. Get the fuck out of here. I don't give a shit.
That's awesome.
I liked Rogue. I almost
like Rogue a lot, too.
dyed white stripes in the front of my hair because I was emo AF in high school and like I wanted to do that, just like white silver stripes in the front.
Yeah.
But I mean, for obvious reasons, I had to be Team Storm. I was always
Yes.
Team Storm
Yeah.
because like I was always Team
Dude,
token
she's-
ethnic person in
She's
whatever group.
Way
And she was
cool though
cool
in the
AF.
cartoon.
Yeah, she was
I
super
was always
cool.
token girl and whatever thing too. Not token like specifically like racially motivated, but I think how exciting though for somebody growing up when you're young to actually have a fucking female icon that you could look at and be like, wow, that represents me. And that's the thing I loved about the X-Men is that they were the freaks and geeks. They
Yeah.
were the
Yeah.
outsiders, and they did represent everyone. And I'm not to say that you're a freak.
Thanks a lot, first of all.
That did not come out. That
Number one,
way.
how dare you?
Maybe cut that.
Yeah.
'Cause I did not mean it that way.
No,
No,
people
it did
get that.
not. Yeah,
It
it
didn't
did
read
not
like
come
that.
out.
Yeah, I had Storm and Scary Spice.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I had growing up.
Scary spice.
Those were my options. But are we in agreement then? Is it
Well, okay, so yeah, I'm gonna marry Gambit too because you're right. He's gonna keep you full of laughs.
Plus, if he gets bored, you always have card games.
and I think that you
right.
have to look somebody in the eye to really trust them, and you can't look Cyclops in the eye. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
are fucking right about that.
Can't trust them.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, I need to look in your eyes to know if you're fucking lying to me right now.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you can't look him in the eye. Yeah,
He'll
no.
kill you.
Shady. Kill him first. Get him first.
That's right.
I'm cheating on all of them with Michael Fassbender.
And so, what ex girl would you be then?
Oh, God,
I really
if
want to
had
be
pick,
Rogue. I think. Yeah.
I'd want to be Jean Grey.
I knew
for
it.
sure. Yeah.
All right. Excellent. So, Halloween?
Oh, yes, please.
Oh my God.
I've been saying I'm going to be Storm for like 5 years
Let's
straight.
fucking do
So
it. I'll be
we
Rogue.
should do it.
Oh my
should.
God.
Plan it
Yeah.
this year.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
Deal.
Sweet.
Oh, it's
Hold
January.
us to it. Hold us to it, listeners.
Yeah. They're like, we want to see
Amazing.
this.
Yes, definitely.
Oh man.
All right. Well, you guys, you want to take 5 and then we'll come back with stories?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sweet.
And we're back, and we realized that we did not introduce ourselves. So, if you made it this far in through the ad break, congratulations. This is My Worst Date.
Surprise, surprise.
I am Keegan.
I'm Cassie.
And I'm Christina.
Hi.
Hi.
And we are ready for stories.
Yes.
All right, so I'll go first. This we got on our Facebook. It says, "Oh my God, where do I begin? I was living with my boyfriend of, let's say I dated him way too long. I'm 5'7". He was 5'2".
Oh.
Okay.
She said, "I know, haha. It always bugged me, but I tried to look past it. Flag number 1. I actually moved out of my rental house to move in with him and his family. Flag number 2.
Oh.
We took
so
a trip to
awkward.
Texas to visit his other family, and it was me, my boyfriend, his cousin, his sister, and his little brother. We were supposed to split gas and driving. I ended up driving 20 of the 24 hours to get us there
Oh God.
and paid the majority of the gas. Flags numbers 3 and 4. We get to his
Dreadful.
aunt's house and have to share a room with his sister and cousin who slept in the bed while we were on the floor. I had fallen. I know all of this is so. I want to know how old she is because,
Dude,
like,
I'm telling you though, I have a similar story to that. It's 19-year-old Christina.
Yeah, I was gonna
So,
say, it's
like,
definitely
that's
when you're, like, 19,
That's,
yes.
that's the shit you let just slide
Just
right
happen.
off your back.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So she says, I had fallen asleep only to be woken up by something wet. While I was asleep, he jacked off and got it all over me in all caps.
Oh my God. Anthony's going to lose his
I
fucking
know.
shit.
I read this and I was just like, Anthony loves jacking off on people's stories.
Let me just bust a
Bust a
nut
nut real quick.
Oh.
He didn't even ask.
No, he didn't.
At
He
least
just did
he
it
just
on
did
her.
it on her in
just-
the middle of the night.
Oh.
With your sister and your cousin in the bed sleeping.
That's just
above you.
fucking weird,
Disgusting.
and gross.
Yeah.
I'm gonna puke.
And
Yes.
so much is wrong with that.
Agreed.
Ugh.
So she says in all caps, what the fuck?
Yep.
Keep in mind, his sister and cousin were in the room
Yeah.
too.
Gross.
Not okay.
No.
Mhm.
That's so fucking weird.
No.
It took him forever to admit it to me because he wouldn't talk about it, which, like, who the fuck do you think you're, like, getting one over on? Is there something sticky
no.
and viscous falling from the
no.
ceiling?
Oh no!
Oh my God. Thank you for that SAT
Yes.
hot word.
Yes.
That's amazing.
'Cause it was-
fucking viscous.
That shit doesn't come out of nowhere. God.
Oh my
Um,
God.
Why the hell wouldn't he have woken me up if he was horny? So fucking weird. But
So
also,
would it have been weirder for them to fuck
Way
in the
weirder.
same room?
Well,
All of this is weird.
all of it's weird. All of it's weird. But also,
But you
like,
can also sneak off and go
yes,
someplace.
that's true. If you wake
Right.
me up when you're horny, we're not fucking on the floor next to your sister and your cousin. But we could go to the
Yeah.
bathroom or something. If everyone's asleep, go
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
Go to the car. Do something
Yes.
else.
Yeah. Backyard. Just kidding.
Yeah,
I only
you're
did that
you're
once.
back-
You're
Backyard.
19. I did it in a park one
Porch
time.
jerker. Oh, yeah. You've done it at some
Porch
interesting
jerker.
places. We've
I
had this
have-
conversation.
I have done it in interesting places. I think I still have a scar like on my back too.
Wasn't
like,
that your first time you said?
Yeah, on a concrete, like one of those picnic tables, you know, that are all concrete.
Ow!
Your back rubs against that
Oh.
after like a few minutes.
Oh, you
and
got
it
a
just-
concrete burn?
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah.
No, listen, if a dude wants to do it in that situation,
Mhm.
then I get to be on top.
exactly.
You can get
But
the
see,
concrete
but-
burn.
He got him on his knees.
Oh, okay.
So I mean,
All right.
tomato. It wasn't me taking all of it.
All
for
of
the
it
team.
seems bad.
Yeah,
Just
all
don't
of it
do
did
it
seem
there.
bad. Don't
Just
do
don't
it there.
do it there.
Do it differently.
Do it differently.
differently.
Find a new place. Find a different. So she says, flag number 5. The next day, we go to the beach and he proposes to me. Flag number 6.
Oh. Oh.
Mhm.
Oh.
He's like, this
Oh.
chick lets me nut on her back.
Yeah,
Oh.
amazing.
Oh no.
What? Yeah.
Wait, what?
If you
No.
if it wakes you up that there's something wet on you, that means he got skin to like skin contact.
Oh my God.
That's so gross. Okay.
And then I
Um,
got in my car and drove all the way home all by myself.
At the end of this story,
And
she says, I had to say yes because his mom's van was my only ride home.
oh my
She's on a road trip
God.
with his entire family in another state. And the only ride home is his mom's van.
You know how we were talking about anxiety earlier?
God,
It's
yeah.
through the fucking roof
Through the
right
roof.
now.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst. So she says, once we got back from Texas, I started looking for a place to live. It took a couple months, but I moved out and the next day met my now husband.
Oh my God.
That's a quick turnaround.
Whoa, that
That
is a
is.
quick turnaround.
That is.
But of
I'm
course,
jealous.
she was out
She
of
was
it for a
ready.
while.
Yeah.
She was out of that for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, yeah.
Mentally out of that for a while.
But like how awkward, like you had to say yes to a proposal in front of his whole family and then like a week later
You're
when
like-
his family's like, how is so-and-so? He's like,
She moved out.
She moved out as soon as we got back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
Bye.
my God. That was fantastic.
Oh,
Oh,
Right.
I'm like cringing.
Can you
I can't
propose
get over
to someone the night after you nut on their back?
No,
Naz.
I don't think so. I think there's a
Well,
law.
I mean,
not very
I think
romantic.
there's a law in Texas about that.
If it was unconsensual nutting on the back, if it
I
wasn't like
know.
a thing
Ugh.
you were doing.
Yeah.
No, I think
yeah.
there's laws in Texas about
No.
that.
Yeah. Oh, my
They're really
God.
strict there.
Exactly.
They're in that like footloose town. They're like,
Yeah.
no dancing.
No dancing.
No
No,
nutting
nutting,
on the
on the
back.
back.
No proposing after nutting on back without consent.
There you go.
All right, so mine comes to us from an email, and she says if we tell the story, to use a fake name like Laura or something.
Like
So-
Laura. Okay.
Well, great. Thanks,
all right, hi,
Laura.
Laura.
Thanks, Laura. And she says, before I start, I just want to say that I love your podcast and you guys make my day, and I hope you all have a great 2019. And
Oh, thank you. You
thank
too.
you. Well, fingers crossed.
see, it's our year.
It is.
It's our year. Okay, so I was 13 and there was this girl I'd had a huge crush on, to the point I was convinced I was in love with her. I know,
13.
but I wasn't. Yeah, I was young.
Yeah.
She asked me if I wanted to go on a date with her, and I said yes, of course. I thought I was so cool because I was only 13 and had been asked out on a date by someone. I spent like an hour picking out the perfect emo outfit. Oh my God, it's you, Keegan.
Oh my God.
God,
I'm
it
Laura.
is.
It's me.
Yeah. Use Laura. It's not Keegan. I spent like an hour picking out my perfect emo outfit because I was going through my embarrassing, edgy, quote, I'm different phase. So I
A
was
lot of Hot Topic.
Yeah.
A lot of unnecessary eyeliner. I understand.
I was dressed in all black except for a gray jumper. I even tried and failed to apply heavy black kohl eyeliner. So you know I look like a panda.
Oh, so cute. In her defense, I'm sure that was also during emo times, even for like popular people.
Even the good look
Again,
was
I
panda.
know.
It was like heavy.
Yeah, I'm getting
black smoky
major,
eye. It was-
like
yeah.
Avril Lavigne
Yeah.
vibes.
It was all Panda Express.
See, back when I was 13, do you remember the trend of the black eyeliner
Oh,
on your lips?
brown eyeliner.
Oh,
It was-
Chola
we did,
style.
Like,
Yes,
we did
that
brown
was-
eyeliner on our lips. Yeah.
Big.
But just the outside.
Yep.
Because the inside was a nice pink gloss.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Oh my god.
I still do that sometimes. I think that's great. I love it.
You're like, it adds definition.
Yeah, it
Come
adds
on.
definition. Come on, your lips look bigger. It's great.
Hi.
Yes.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
No, it just looked like an outline coming towards you. it looked like a neon sign around your lip. It was.
Especially the black one. Oh my
Oh,
god.
man.
Okay,
It's
black
not
is
good.
a step too far.
That's-
That is a step
Did
too
you ever
far.
draw on like a
Beauty mark?
Beauty
oh,
mark.
yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
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 Cool, cool.
Oh,
Did you like when I was in junior high? We used to draw teardrops under our eyes like crybaby.
Okay.
Oh,
no,
dear.
did not do that, but kudos
We're like, okay,
to you.
you've lost us. You've lost us now.
I'm just kidding. Definitely fake. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't either.
Oh
That's
my
so
god,
weird.
that's so weird.
But did you ever like cut crosses into your skin with like a safety pin?
no,
I did
Just
that.
kidding. Definitely not that either.
I did that. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Okay.
No, I did with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like nothing hardcore. But it's
Yeah.
just like, look at how hardcore I am. But
Yeah.
like,
We-
it's barely more than a paper cut. It's like nothing.
Oh yeah, we would get like blood.
Oh
Yeah,
my
you- yeah,
gosh.
you
Yeah,
just
scratch
break-
that in.
break
the
the
most
surface.
like thing like that we did. We used to play the pass out game.
Oh god.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody like fucking cut his head open. Dude, Will, I remember this. And our
I never played that. I'm
freshman
just
or
like,
sophomore
why?
year or something. He
Dude.
totally passed out, hit his head on the chalkboard. Our fucking math class, I remember, it was algebra.
Yeah, we had to have a school assembly about it because we used to play it like all the time on recess, just
I
like
wanna know-
fucking people
Shout out
up
to
big
Kylie,
time.
who I know is listening because she went to school with me. Kylie,
Yeah.
you know this story when Will passed out. And
Oh my
algebra
God,
class.
I really want to
Amazing.
know. I really want to know what the teachers' lounge was like
Oh
whenever
my
they had to
God.
have that
Yes.
fucking assembly.
Well-
Well, you know those teachers were like, these kids are dumb as shit.
I know.
fucking dumb as shit, kids.
I
They
know.
have this dumb assembly.
Well, it's
They
like
won't
the
stop.
Tide Pod challenge. You know
Well,
what I
that's
mean?
why-
It's like kids.
that's
Yeah,
why
I don't
do
want to hear
dumbass
people
shit.
talking about people doing dumb shit like Tide Pod challenges because exactly
No, because
right.
you know you did some
Exactly.
dumb shit too.
Yeah. We
That's
all
the thing.
did dumb
I will
shit.
always defend Generation Z because I'm just like, y'all did dumb shit too.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Exactly.
I know grown-ups who are doing the fucking Bird Box challenge right now. Get the fuck out.
Bird
What?
Box challenge.
It's just basically being blindfold trying to do shit and like someone
And
like
people
recording
are
it.
like, yeah,
They're
people are
getting
getting
hurt. People are
hurt.
getting
and
hurt.
shit. Netflix had to
Good.
like announce like, don't do this.
Please don't do this, you idiots.
Anyway, I'm so sorry,
All right,
Laura.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right, so back to the story. Sorry about that. So black coal liner, panda. Okay. She said she would pick me up from my house at 4:30, and we would go to a, quote, romantic walk around the park. And in my little 13-year-old mind, this was the best thing ever. And I was envisioning our future wedding. So I'm ready, and I say goodbye to my parents, that I'll be back for dinner, and I walk outside and I wait for my date. I wait.
Oh, no.
I wait.
Oh, my heart.
And I wait. I guess for about 20 minutes, I could no longer ignore this horrible feeling in my gut that was telling me that she wasn't coming. But I didn't want to believe she would do this to me. I decided to sit down on my steps leading up to my front door, and I checked my BlackBerry phone for the time, and it says she's 35 minutes late. I text her asking where she is, and 10 minutes later, she still hasn't replied. At this point, I can no longer hold it in anymore, and I burst into horrible, ugly tears, and I cry my heart out.
Your eyeliner, honey.
I know. I cry my heart out on the steps. It's raining now, and I don't even have an umbrella or a hood because I wore my hoodless jacket thinking it made me look cooler, and my panda eyes are even worse than before. I know I should go back inside, but I am so mortified and ashamed that I've been stood up. I just can't stand the thought of telling my family what happened. I sit out there for an hour and a half crying, and as a 13-year-old, I was convinced my life was over.
Oh, my God, sweet baby.
I just want to hug her.
Fast forward, and I'm 18 now, and I find out that she was arrested for beating her girlfriend in the middle of a street. And she was also caught setting fire to things around her neighborhood and even assaulted a teenage girl.
Oh, honey, you dodged a bullet.
She was also apparently diagnosed as a narcissistic psychopath and apparently is facing jail now. I can't say I'm shocked, as I actually ended up having my first kiss with this girl when I was like 14, and I knew her until I was about 16, and she was so aggressive and horrible throughout high school and very abusive. But yeah, it's very grim knowing I almost went on a date with this person, and I had my first kiss with a narcissistic psychopath.
Oh,
Wow.
my God.
This is like turned into a Dateline episode.
Levels.
Thank God. Yeah. I mean, it's terrible. You get stood up, but sometimes it's for the best.
No, someone was looking out. That was good looking out
Guardian
on the universe's
Angel was
part.
Like,
No.
Nope.
We know what's best for you, honey.
Yeah. It hurts now, but believe me, this.
Yeah, you don't want to go walking in the park with that girl.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
no
can you
shit.
imagine?
Yeah. No
No shit.
Gonna have a Slender Man situation
I was
on your
just
hands.
gonna say that. He's fucking Slender Man.
No.
Oh my God. Wow, that's fucking incredible. All right, let me pull up. I got this story from, well, I don't know if it's okay to say her name, but she emailed in and she says, it's a short one, but I think it's really funny. So,
All right, cool.
All right, we'll lay into it. I had an experience a lot like one of yours from the Shame Receipt episode. And that's episode 4. If you want to go back, blast from the past, that's...
Back before our sound was as crisp and clean as it is right now.
Yeah, but it's still a good sounding episode.
It's definitely worth going back to. Yeah,
definitely worth going back to.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I like
Me
it too.
too. That fucking story. I can't believe I shared it. But anyways, she says, I was 14 years old in 9th grade, passing notes back to my best friend about how I lost my virginity the weekend before.
Oh, you don't pass notes about that.
No.
You do not pass notes in school about that.
My anxiety is already through the roof because it makes me think of fucking
My stomach hurts.
Dude, when I told you guys when I was 12 and Colleen got finger banged behind the library, I mean, it was like worldwide news. It was the biggest
when you're
fucking
like
thing
14,
ever.
like that's still young enough that people are like scandalized by
Right.
that
Oh, yeah.
sort
Right.
of information.
Right.
Yeah, no. Can't pass notes about that.
Yeah. Well, it's so she says, I must have dropped the note by my locker. And one of the meaner girls in my grade, we're friends now, which she put in parentheses. I'm like, I gotta know she gives her shit about this. One of the meaner girls in my grade picked it up. She then passed it to everyone in my grade.
How are you friends now? That person is on my like no-go list forever.
Oh, dude, I'm I'm not friends, but I'm Facebook friends with the chick that fucking grabbed my diary.
Facebook friends is different, but
Yeah.
like friends, like in real, because Facebook friends, it's like know thy enemy, keep an eye on that bitch.
Yeah.
But like,
know thy enemy.
but
yeah,
like,
I'm like, she looks
That's
like
biblical.
shit now too.
I
She does
mean,
not look
sometimes
good.
that is like sweet revenge. Can we? Sorry, this is off, but I need to bring it up because I just had an instance earlier today that could have been a shame receipt, but wasn't quite. But Facebook doing this thing now where they have stories on Facebook, and I'm like, I'm just trying to creep on your profile pictures, and now
I
I've
know.
accidentally watched your fucking story.
Yeah.
Does it tell you when you watched?
I don't know because I don't do stories on Facebook, but
right.
everywhere else does tell you. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they know, and they're probably like, why the fuck is Keegan from high school who has not talked to me? Why am I doing it? Because I want to show my coworker what you look like now.
Right.
And now you know that I was snooping on your shit.
I got big dick energy on that. I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
I didn't know that you could see
Oh, no.
who's viewed your story.
No. Have you been watching people's stories?
Oh, no. What do you mean you didn't know that?
Anthony didn't know either. I had to show him.
didn't know.
Oh, girl.
I may have watched. I'll have to
Bleep
bleep that
it.
out.
No, bleep it.
Oh my god!
That's okay. It's okay. It's
No,
okay.
it's
okay.
not.
It's fine.
He's never
It's
talked to
fine.
Ever,
Oh, no.
ever, and there we go. That's the nail in the coffin.
Oh, no.
There we go.
Oh, my God.
Shame receipt. Totally. Anyways, why am I such a fuck up?
I'm sorry.
It's all, well, there you go. She says she then passed it to everyone in my grade. Everyone made a huge deal about it because I was the first in my grade to lose my virginity. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. It was so embarrassing and it only got worse. I got slut shamed so bad. Oh, honey.
That sounds terrible.
Awful.
The worst.
I've been there. It's awful. So, and especially at fucking 14.
I wouldn't have recovered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard.
That's
So,
what I mean.
bless
Don't be
your
friends with
heart.
her. I'm just kidding. She's probably a lovely person now, but
Even still. Yeah. I would hold
I would
little
never
bit.
forgive. I
There'd
would
be
never forgive. Never forgive. Never forget.
Never forget.
Oh my
Never forgive. Never surrender.
Well, it gets worse. This girl
Oh, no.
told her mom, who goes to the same bar all the time with my uncle.
No.
Small town. So her mom ratted me out to my uncle, who ratted me out to my dad.
Oh,
No.
my.
I'd have been like, it's a lie. It's a lie. I totally didn't. It was a lie.
Good call, Cassie, because she said, of course I lied and said she hates me so much. She made it up. Good
You know, that's a good
cover.
lie.
That is good. Be like, oh, she's just making it up. But
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my God.
I've been like,
Don't
this
tell fucking
bitch.
parents. There should be
literally
a
code.
There's a code.
Yeah.
There's a teenage code. It doesn't matter how fucking
You don't
fucked
tell-
up shit gets. You don't fucking tell your parents.
I don't give a
Everyone
fuck.
knows
I don't give a
that.
fuck if you're the Gilmore Girls
Snitches
and you're like
get
Lorelai
stitches.
and Rory. You don't tell your mom that shit. I don't care if
Exactly.
you're best friends with your
unless
mom.
you're like going to meet somebody from the internet or something. and
No,
then,
okay, listen. If you're doing something dangerous,
Yeah.
but that's not even her business. She's just gossiping on another girl.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
some bullshit.
That
Yeah.
is some bullshit.
Fucking snitches, man.
Snitches.
And then she says, love your guys' podcast. I listen to it constantly at work. Well, thank you so much. and
Thank
thank you for
you. Oh my
sharing.
God.
Dude, that is so crazy. But yeah, you carry that stuff. You still feel that
Gut,
heat on your
visceral.
face when like
There is
everybody
reaction, yeah.
I don't think
realizes
that I
it's
was
such
ever-
an invasion.
I don't think I was ever more vulnerable emotionally than when I was probably like 13, 14,
Oh, sure.
15 was like my most vulnerable where everything felt life ending.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Probably, yeah, probably 12 through 15 was like everything felt fucking like
The worst.
the worst, the biggest deal
Right.
that could be because high school is your entire, or school, middle school, I guess is what it would have been at 12, but like that's your whole world.
Right.
You know, like that's your whole world. And those people, you think that that's everything. And
Yeah.
so when that happens to you, you're just like, yeah, my world is over. My
Yeah.
life has ended.
Everything's
This is over.
everything's done now. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's over. Okay.
You ready
Are you
to
guys ready for this?
I am ready.
This crazy love.
I've been binging like crazy, like murder stories for the past like 3 days. So
Not a murder. Shocking for me, I know. Not a murder.
Excited. Doubly
So-
now.
Okay. Ahem. Let's hope we can get through this fast because I was taking notes all day and not keeping track of how many I had. So here we go.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
I love that part of it's on a Post-it, part of it's on your phone.
Yes.
Exactly. So I remember when this happened, and it was
Okay.
kind of like a big deal. It kind of like I saw things pop up on my Facebook kind of like in passing. And then I hadn't heard anything about it. And then through the, lost week that is between
Yes.
Christmas and New Year's,
Yeah.
Oxygen was just doing like the most with like every crime documentary you could want to watch. And so
Amazing.
this was on and I was just like, yes, gonna look more into that. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yes. So on June 5th, 2015,
Ooh, close.
not that far away, 2 inmates from the Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora, New York, escape.
I know what this
They
is.
Shawshank that shit.
Yes.
They escape right the fuck
Escape.
out.
Oh my God, that's another blast from the past.
Yeah,
Oh,
escape.
escape.
So yeah, they do. They escape, and it is bananas. Like people are like, "How did this happen?" Because they really consider this prison to be like
Like a hive.
escape proof. Like they called it Little Siberia because it was kind of like. They showed video of this town, and it's like an average-looking town where there's just like a giant wall
Yep.
surrounding this enormous maximum
so you're saying
security
that
prison.
walls can't keep people in or out.
Interesting take there, Cassie. Interesting. We will put a pin in that.
Yeah.
For
So moving
now.
on.
Moving on. But yeah, so it had like hot take, spicy. So there's like a big
Muy
wall
caliente.
surrounding this maximum security prison, and then on the other sides of it, there's like the town on one side, and on the other sides, it's like forest.
Uh-huh.
So they're like, nobody's getting out of this thing. They would make jokes. They said that like you only get out of Clinton Correctional if you die. Like you have to like kill yourself essentially, like to get out of that place. Like
Jesus.
you're not
Okay.
getting out. So there's this woman, and her name is Joyce Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Joyce Mitchell is a very plain, average-looking woman, a
Mhm.
middle-aged mother, wife and mother. She's a seamstress. She'd had a job as a seamstress before, and then the company she worked for closed down. So a big economy of this town, obviously, is the prison. So she went to work in the prison, and she became an instructor in the tailor shop there. So the prisoners would make clothes, blankets, all kinds of other things. So she became an instructor there, working very closely with the prisoners. There's a man who starts working there named David Sweat. And David Sweat actually becomes like a prison supervisor. So she's the supervisor and he is like the inmate supervisor. And they start working very closely together. So closely, in fact, that the other inmates would comment on her being very hands-on, kind of like getting in your personal space. And that they said that she liked the attention she got from the inmates, and they kind of like joked around that David was or that Joyce was David's girlfriend because they spent so much time like
I mean, just
Chatty.
say, like,
Problematic.
honestly, like, because I know the story, so I've seen pictures of her and everything. And as somebody that has had my own struggles with self-esteem, and I feel like we all want to be
Liked.
attractive.
Right.
We want to be liked. We all want to feel special. We all want to feel desired,
Right.
desirable. And people like her are extremely easy targets
yes.
for people that are
And-
trained to basically find those weaknesses.
Right. And
Right.
listen, like I didn't like the documentary I watched really took a lot of the responsibility off of her because of that. They're like, these 2 guys targeted her and they did all this,
Obviously.
and clearly that is true. And
Right.
it does open the bigger conversations. Why I wanted to do this one, because that is what it is. It's like when someone's giving you that kind of attention, like you will do things that you don't think you're going to do.
You would
However,
normally do. Right.
I don't want to take the responsibility off of her because
Correct.
listen,
You're working at a prison.
You're an adult.
Working with prisoners.
right.
You got to know that.
Set boundaries.
Set boundaries. And also, God, that's so hard though.
It's so hard because
looking
of
at her,
course,
I'm like,
we'll post pictures to our social media so you can see. But it's very clear to me that she was someone who needed this kind of attention and probably didn't get it very much.
because we do, we all need to feel that way, and so you get a taste of it. It just it makes you do really dumb stuff sometimes.
Yeah. But let's talk about David Sweat, who is this inmate who I think is considerably younger than her. He's like in his early-ish 30s or maybe mid-30s. And I think she is in her 50s possibly, or her like late 40s. So 13 years earlier, before this point, David Sweat, along with 2 accomplices, robbed a firearms and fireworks store, which I'm like, firearms and fireworks?
That sounds like the best place ever.
Right.
That's
like
a
great
bitchin'
combo.
good time.
Yeah, yeah, you guys, someone's getting hurt after you leave. So he robbed
so many lost fingers.
so many. He robbed a firearms and fireworks store in Great Bend, Pennsylvania.
I can't fucking make fun. My cousin like robbed a Kmart, so you know what I
I've
mean.
definitely had relatives who have robbed convenience stores. Anyway, we'll talk about that later, Cassie. Cassie looks horrified.
No. I'm horrified about my own family. Put a fucking strong pin in that.
Yeah, no shit.
We come from good breeding on this podcast.
Good stock. Good stock.
Good stock. So after they rob the firearms fireworks store, Sweat and his accomplices are going through their loot at a local park, and a police officer just on a regular patrol rolls up. You're going to need to stop laughing right now.
They're just like, look at all this cool shit we got. And he's
No,
like,
but for real, could this have been more of like a young, dumb guy thing to do? Like rob a fireworks store and then go to a park and be like, look at all our stuff.
I know.
So stupid.
The best.
But anyway, okay. So this police officer rolls up and he's just on a regular patrol. It's not like he knew they were there. He was looking for them. He's just like, that looks suspicious. Group of young men in a park. So he rolls up. He exits his car just to check it out. And as soon as he walks in front of his vehicle, Sweat opens fire on the police officer.
Oh, come on.
But I mean, honestly, he wasn't even quite a threat to you at this point. Like he hadn't advanced on you.
No.
So he shoots him in the chest. He's not dead. He falls to the ground. David Sweat gets in his police vehicle, gets in the car.
holy shit,
runs
that's some
him
bad.
over
Oh my God.
in his own police car. Dragging him through the parking lot. He's still not dead at this point, and one of the accomplices shoots him 3 times in the head.
Oh my.
So
fucking
this is who we're dealing with. I'm going to bring up their crimes because I think it's important to
God.
remember, like,
He's a fucking criminal.
he's
He
a
is
criminal, and also this is who
legit.
she was dealing with, though, where I'm
Yeah.
like, you should have known better than to have, like, gotten involved with these people. Like,
No shit.
you know? So,
Yeah. That's a level of despicable, like, you
horrifying.
don't come back from.
Right.
Your decision-making process is so fucking flawed at
Right.
that point.
And I'm like,
Where you think that that's okay to get.
yeah, agree. So, he pleads guilty to first-degree murder and is sentenced to life without parole at Clinton Correctional. In 2013, Joyce is working as the inmate
Seamstress
instructor.
lady.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Da-da-da-da. So sometimes the other inmates would notice Joyce, and because they interviewed one of the other inmates in this documentary that I watched, and Joyce and David would go into the back for spare parts, quote unquote, and come back with nothing. And so everyone kind of assumed that they were having sex at that time. Now
They're
both,
doing it.
They're doing it. Now both Joyce and David deny that they ever had any kind of like physical relationship in that way. Like it was
bullshit.
more. I feel the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I am a little surprised because there are 2 stories when you watch this documentary. You get her story, and she always, of course, tries to make herself look as innocent as possible.
Right.
But then they also intercut it with his police interview, and of course, 2 sides. Take each one for a grain of salt. I believe him more than I believe her because he's going to jail forever anyway.
Yeah.
You know, she has a lot more to lose.
She has everything to lose. Yeah.
So when he says that they didn't have a physical relationship, I buy it a little bit more.
Sure.
But there was definitely very intense flirting going on. She definitely highly infatuated with him at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So there were so many rumors swirling around about the two of them that they actually had an internal investigation at the prison to see what was going on.
Yeah.
And they decided that there had been no like sexual contact between them was the result of the investigation, but they told her to stop being so friendly with him. Like they were like, you need to, you're being
boundaries.
too friendly.
Boundaries.
Yeah, you need to set boundaries.
Right.
So around this time, another prisoner named Richard Matt landed a job at the tailor shop. And by the way, I should say the tailor shop was like the coveted job that you wanted because it was like safe. People usually enjoyed doing it.
Pre-chill.
Yeah, it was pre-chill. So it's the job that you wanted to have.
Right.
So he gets a job there too. He is also a violent criminal. He actually got fired by an employer. This guy was like in his 70s, goes to the employer's house because the employer always joked about having like money or like it made some jokes that everyone around him like knew were jokes. But Richard Matt was like, oh no, my employer's got like gold buried under his house or something crazy.
Oh no.
And so he went like this like 70-something-year-old man beat the shit out of him and was basically like, it's your money or your life. You have to like give me your money. And he's like, well, I don't have any. So he puts this old man in his trunk with another man, like, and they drive for 30 hours with this old guy in their trunk. They break his fingers. He doesn't have anything to give them. So in the end, they end up killing him. They cut up his body with Richard Matt cuts up his body with a hacksaw and dumps it in the Niagara River. So these are who we're dealing with. These two men.
Oh my God.
Great, upstanding
Chills.
citizens.
So this guy was sentenced to 25 years to life at Clinton Correctional. So, I mean, seems like it should have been life like the other guy. You did cut someone up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he ends up occupying an adjoining cell with David Sweat, and they become kind of like really good friends. Their partnership is almost described as like a folie à deux, like a situation where they're capable of doing things together that they probably would not have planned on like by themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, the relationship between Joyce and David becomes so troubling that David is removed from the tailor shop and it like cuts off communication with Joyce. This is kind of the catalyst for David because he just lost his good cushy job at the tailor shop, which he does receive a very small income where he could like get things at the commissary and things like that.
Right.
And he's placed into a worse job that he doesn't enjoy, doesn't pay as well, whatever. And this is what makes him say like, fuck this, I want to get out of here. Like, I want to escape. So, Richard Matt begins asking Joyce to bring things in for David. He plays on her sympathy. He's like, he's down about losing his job. He doesn't have money to get things from the commissary. So she starts bending the rules, doing things that she shouldn't do, like baking them like goods, cookies, breads, things like that, to give to David because she's still super like smitten.
Still curious how she's getting shit in. If she's sneaking stuff in, like they're really fucking tight.
Well, it seems like I'm not sure how she got the baked goods in. Maybe that was something that she was kind of like allowed to do, maybe to bring to the other correctional officers and then like was able to smuggle those in. But we'll get to that in a little bit of the other things. Okay. So they quickly learn that she's willing to bend the rules for them and they can play on that. So they start like building up, more and more things. And they decide to like, they're going to recruit Joyce to help them escape because they know that they cannot get out without her help.
Right.
So Matt starts trying to seduce Joyce, and she says that Richard Matt gives her that tingly feeling, which I almost brought up when you were talking about butterflies, because in this documentary they call it limerence, which is something that I'd never heard of before. It's a word. It's limerence. It's like when you have that tingly feeling, those butterflies. And the criminologist kind of talks about how for Joyce, how that could be a very compelling thing because when you're in your 50s, you've been married for
Yeah.
20 years, you don't get that feeling anymore. So like when you get it,
I told you, I've been on however many fucking dates this year, way too many, or the last year, and I did not feel that.
Yeah.
So,
And it makes her feel special. Like when, especially if you haven't felt it in a long time, like it doesn't even really matter like how good your relationship is. That feeling that's the reason why people say they're like addicted to love or new relationships, is because they're always trying to chase that like high, like that feeling that you have in the beginning of a relationship when you have that like tingly feeling.
Yeah.
So in the months leading up to the escape, Joyce undergoes a lot of like physical changes that her fellow workers, correctional officers notice. She starts dressing better, taking more care of herself, wearing makeup, and things like that. I should also point out right now that her husband, Lyle, is a corrections officer in the prison as well.
Ooh,
so they
so he's
both work at the prison.
Definitely heard the rumors and stuff.
You would think that, yes, because there was an internal investigation. But
I'm sure someone was like, "Hey, dude."
But the entire time, though, he's like, "But she's so kind." I think he just thought that she was like really nice.
Oh, gotcha.
You know,
and it's like love is blind.
Yeah. So Joyce then begins a sexual relationship with Richard Matt. She claims that their first sexual interaction was not consensual. She claims that it was due to she was having a depression and having tough times in her marriage. She was unhappy in her marriage. But she also admitted that she liked the attention. Like she liked being desired. So they had several other sexual encounters that in this interview that I saw her in, she was much more timid because they also like showed you what she said to like what she testified, and she was much more forthcoming about when she testified that there had been a lot of sexual contact between the two of them. So she then begins communicating. Richard Matt like gets her to start communicating with his daughter, who he'd not really met or spent a lot of time with, and that's strictly like forbidden within like you're not allowed to contact inmates family members.
Right. Yeah,
of course.
So they start asking her like little by little to start doing like bigger and bigger things, eventually asking for hacksaw blades, which here's the thing, Joyce, honey, sweetie,
didn't she claim too to not really know like
how
what they
could
wanted
you not
to use them for? And
what
it's
the
like,
fuck else are you going to use with that? Like you're either using it to break out or you're using it to hurt someone.
Or using it as a weapon.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
So
it.
Well, they're
neither
building a
one of
house.
them.
They were building a house inside their cell.
Yeah, they were building gingerbread houses. It was all very innocent.
All very innocent. But I'm like, dude, these guys are master manipulators though.
Yeah.
Because it's the fucking boiling frog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. It's just like one more little thing. Like one more little thing.
Turn
Just
up the heat.
bend the rules a little bit more. But at that point, to me, that's the turning point. Like contacting the daughter, I could see how she could justify that. Like, oh, the daughter deserves to have a relationship with her dad. I could see how she could do all of that. But once it gets to like,
blades,
there's
like,
where the
you
line
fucking
is.
know.
Yeah.
You fucking know.
There's where the fucking line is.
Yeah.
So she did this by, so she ends up buying 4 full-size hack blades, and she breaks them into 2, and how she gets them in is she pushes them into ground beef, like into the middle of the ground beef, and then freezes it. And then Richard Matt tells her to give them to another corrections officer named Eugene Palmer, and he'll take the meat and give it to the prisoners. Now, Eugene Palmer claims that he didn't know that there were hacksaws in the meat, but it's also like, well, then why were you giving them meat?
Why
do they need meat?
Hold on.
Meat.
Question. Exactly. I was like, what do
Real
prisoners do with raw hamburger?
Yeah, why would they need raw
They don't
hamburger?
have fucking George Foreman's
make
up there.
sense.
Frozen raw.
Do they? Do they have George Foreman's?
No
They can make
way.
themselves hamburgers?
No way.
No.
So it remains very unclear, like clearly to me. I'm like, he fucking knew. But he
was getting some money or something on the side.
He remains that like he didn't know, and like everyone inside the prison is like, they think that he's like a real good stand-up guy, but he did have this thing where he liked to be like one of the guys with the prisoners. Like he liked to be like buddy. He wanted them to like him.
Oh,
So
you know what? I can see that, man. I'm telling you,
But
this
these people
is why
shouldn't be
it's
working
such
in a
great,
prison.
crazy in love thing. But that's the thing is that these fucking mega prisons are in small towns everywhere
it's
where
true.
people
Normal
are fucking
people.
invisible.
And Joyce is
and
the most
no
small
one
town.
sees them.
She's
Exactly.
her and her husband, Joyce and Lyle, are the most small town like you've seen. Like
they
they're
fucking grow up there. They go to high school there. They fucking watch
and
TV
truly,
there,
like,
and no one sees them, and they're fucking invisible until a predator comes and knows how to
spies
fucking
on
pick them apart.
And I think for Joyce, I would guess that it's possible to me that her husband is only like the second person she's ever been with, because she was married before that, and that was like a high school sweetheart. They'd been together since they were like 14. They got married very, very young, and then it actually overlapped where she cheated on her first husband with Lyle and then got with Lyle right away. So, I mean, it's very likely that that's all she'd known, really, and maybe she was having a bit of a midlife crisis here.
Yeah,
sure.
But Eugene Palmer, who was the corrections officer who smuggled in the stuff, he eventually pled guilty to a felony and 2 misdemeanors for his role in the breakout. Never admitted to knowing what was in there, but pled guilty to those. So using the blades, both Sweat and Matt begin carving holes in the walls of their cell.
Oh my God.
Sweat would send messages through Matt for whatever additional tools they needed. Joyce would respond via letter that same day, telling him that she would provide whatever he asked for, and the day she would provide it. So eventually, Sweat asks Matt to ask Joyce for nude photos. She agrees.
No.
Oh, honey.
She takes nude photos and
honey.
gives them to them.
Oh,
which
honey.
is like,
oh, honey.
oh, honey, on so many levels, because it's like, now you've given them, you have zero plausible deniability now.
Yeah.
Like, you've given them blackmail material, not only for the prison, but your husband works there.
Right.
Like, clearly she wasn't thinking
honey.
it at all. So finally, Matt tells Joyce that he loves her, and Joyce claims that she tells Matt that she loves her husband and walks away. And then she claims that Matt threatens her husband's life and says, like, when we get out of this prison, because at this point she knows they're trying to escape, and when we get out of this prison, I'm going to come throw your husband off a cliff because I love you so much. Like, that's
that's
her
fucking
story.
Cliff, first of all.
Right.
You're in the middle of fucking
You're in New York.
US.
Calm down.
Like, there's no
you're
cliff
like
to
in
throw.
upstate.
Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah.
So like that's her story. Like that's what she claims happened, which I have a hard time believing, because I'm like, you've done all this shit for him, and he
Exactly.
tells you he loves you.
Yeah.
And you're like, no.
And you've been
thank
sleeping
you.
with him, and
And you're dolling yourself up for him and like going through all this like dangerous shit for him, and you're just like,
You put hacksaws in raw beef.
yeah.
Bitch.
And
Calm
you're like,
down.
I don't love you. I love my husband. Like bullshit. So,
exactly.
But the survey says
Survey says, Sweat says that it was actually Joyce who wanted her husband gone, and she would call him. This is why I believe him, because he's got
I do
details.
This
too. I
sounds
believe
more
this.
plausible. Yeah.
I
She
believe
says
this.
that he would. He says that she would call her husband the glitch, saying like, "You got to get rid of the glitch." Like, you know.
Oh shit.
And he says,
well, I mean, who among us in
You're
a
like,
long-term
"Meh."
relationship hasn't wanted someone to kill their
No.
husband?
as I raise my hand really
I know.
loudly.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
it's like
not me.
that's fucking that's love.
no.
No.
Wanting to throttle them slowly.
No.
He says that she wanted to kill him in the facility. Like he says that she wanted Sweat and Matt to kill her husband before they break out of the facility, like while they're still in the facility, and then like escape. So her family does not believe this. Like her son doesn't believe it. Her husband doesn't believe it. She did say that
They're still together? Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
We'll get to that.
No.
We will get
I
there.
gotta look these people up.
We will get there.
Shit.
So
I didn't do the deep dive, so I didn't know her
Girl.
husband wasn't like deuces.
we will get there. But she does admit that she complained about him a lot to Sweat and Matt, and that she was unhappy in her marriage. And she tells not only them that, but she admits that to investigators afterwards.
Oh,
So-
Joyce.
She ends up providing Matt and
Joyce.
Sweat with not only hacksaw blades, but also Patricia Arquette played her in a Showtime movie.
There's a Showtime movie.
Oh yeah,
about
I watched
this?
the trailer for it, and man, they uglied Patricia Arquette up. Cut all this out, but yes,
Yeah.
So Joyce ends up providing Matt and Sweat with not only hacksaw blades, but also a tape measure, glasses with LED light, a chisel, work gloves, and a U.S. Atlas.
And
Were
what
these
did-
also in raw beef?
I don't know how she got this shit in there.
What was their explanation to her about what these were going to be used for?
No, I
Yeah,
think
if
I
she's
think by this
claiming,
point she knows.
She had to have known.
She had to have because she
A fucking chisel?
well by the time he says when we break out of here I'm gonna murder your husband or whatever,
Yeah.
like she had
She's
to have
like-
known that there was an escape plan. I think
Oh,
she
right,
knew at
right,
this
right.
point.
Yeah.
At this point she's admitting to knowing. But she Sweat claims that there was nothing that he requested that Joyce did not get for him. Like if he requested something, she would get
Yeah.
it. So
And these
Dude,
boys are not
Sweat,
that handsome.
Sweat managed to like lay that groundwork without having to lay
put
any
out
pipe.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Didn't lay
well
any
done.
Didn't lay any
Well
pipe.
done.
He put Matt in there to
Master.
do the
Yeah, Matt had to
lifting.
do.
And look at
You know what I
Matt.
mean?
Poor Matt.
Yep. Hey, play
He
your
looks
part.
angry too. He's
Play
like,
your
"God
part."
damn
Yeah,
it."
man. So Sweat says that Joyce thought that she would escape with them, and that was the plan. And Joyce testifies that she was caught up in the fantasy of a different life, which I see it. Like I see all of that.
As we had therapy corner earlier this episode because we all made it through the holidays and stuff like that. We all have our own escape fantasies
Yeah.
where it is easy to get lost in like, what if everything was different and I could
And-
just run away?
At this point, it really does seem like she is living in a movie. Like
Yeah.
she's living
Yeah.
in the most, and I could see it.
She's
being-
living in a Showtime movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Where
And
she's played by Patricia Arquette.
I could see it being so like attractive and exciting to you. If you live a very mundane,
Yeah.
day to day, every day is the same,
Yeah.
kind of boring life. I mean, how many movies have been written about that? Where it's just
Right.
like this, person has the opportunity to like do something exciting with
Right.
your boring, mundane life.
Yeah.
Fucking Fatal Attraction. He cheated on his wife with Glenn Close.
He ate
and
bitches spaghetti.
He ate bitches spaghetti, and Joyce decided to help with an escape plan.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the night of the escape, Joyce was supposed to meet Matt and Sweat at a manhole cover with her car. And she was tasked with bringing them clothes, a tent, and a shotgun. This is what they recommended. And
Yikes.
she says, well, I never intended on bringing them the shotgun. Like she was never going to do that. So on June 5th, 2015, Matt tells Joyce that the breakout is on for that night. And she kind of tries to like wiggle her way out of it, being like, oh, I don't have the money together yet. Like I'm not. And he's like, if you have enough money for 2 tanks of gas, you have enough. We'll see you at the pothole at midnight. And he's like, okay. So at 3:30, Joyce leaves the prison with her husband, Lyle. He says that he doesn't notice anything odd about her behavior at this point. She seems very normal. They go and get dinner like normal and everything's fine.
Poor
Then-
Lyle.
Well, I'm
fucking
saying,
Lyle,
I'm just like,
I know.
I don't mean to be, and this is a fucking generalization of all generalizations, but there is no one that can keep a secret like a woman.
That's true.
I'm sorry.
And
I'm
also,
sorry. And especially like small town, I'm just like, there are so many, there's like a fucking Faulkner novel in that fucking relationship
And-
right there where I'm just like, that woman can do circles around Lyle.
Oh, God.
Bless your heart, Lyle. But like,
But honestly,
she'll hide what she wants to hide from you.
watch this Oxygen documentary because it is seriously like, oh, Lyle. Like, you weren't seeing anything because you weren't looking for
Yeah,
it. Like,
exactly.
That's all that
and
was.
They don't.
He's
They're
Yeah.
simple
but here's the thing.
creatures,
He's
and
a-
bless their
and this
hearts.
man
Here's the thing
especially.
about Lyle, though. Lyle doesn't even recognize when she changed her hair color.
Yeah,
he didn't realize that
right.
she got bangs.
That's why I know.
She bought a new
Lyle,
outfit.
Lyle could have been like, "Baby, you look really nice."
Right.
Lyle could have turned this whole fucking
I
thing
know.
around if Lyle would have paid the fuck attention.
That's the problem. Is like
Listen, Lyle.
like she was bored with her life.
Yeah.
Like, and Sweat even says it. He says Lyle was a good guy most of the time, but he would do some dumbass shit. Like at the prison on their anniversary, Lyle brought her Burger King. I'm like, this is
Well,
why.
no.
This
What
is
a
why
sweet,
Joyce wants something else.
gentleman.
Okay.
When I think of like a
Yes.
small town marriage, bless
Yes.
their hearts.
Yeah.
My mom and my dad. 'Cause
Lyle didn't even
that
think.
Joyce-
didn't even think about anything. Like, whenever he was just like, yeah, happy anniversary, honey. Kiss on the cheek. Here's your Burger King. You know what I mean? But to Joyce, there had to have been nothing more like mundane or like to make you feel less excited about anything in your
Right.
life. You have to step back and be like, this is what my life is. Like, this is my
Yeah.
life.
Yep.
And then these two people step in to
Burger
try
King on
and
my
bring
anniversary.
some excitement into your life,
Yeah.
It's like
They honestly didn't have to do much.
They didn't
They
do
don't-
barely anything.
men. Copy a fucking movie. There are literally hundreds of fucking movies
Not,
out there
like,
with
say
the
anything or anything,
grand romantic gesture that you can do,
But
for
not in
your
the offset
wife
situation. Yes,
that you can do
to
for your wife.
Yes.
on your anniversary.
Yes.
Take it fucking seriously. It's
Agreed.
like it means something to every single woman. And
It
if they
does.
say it doesn't, they're fucking lying to you.
Yeah, and it doesn't
No,
even
that's
have to be
true.
a grand gesture. It just has to be a heartfelt gesture.
Thought about-
a
you thought about something.
thoughtful gesture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So poor Lyle doesn't notice anything wrong with his wife when they leave the prison on
We
the
took the
5th
journey around
of
that one.
June. And she, I think, is acting pretty cool, calm, and collected until she gets home. And then I think anxiety starts to set in.
Right.
Lyle walks in and he's just like, hey, what's wrong with your face? Because
Oh, he does notice that she has a face?
she ends up having like, she said like her heart was started beating out of her chest and she had like a full on panic attack. That was bad enough that he had to take her to the hospital that night.
Yeah, I buy that.
Hives.
Yeah.
She was like,
Because
fuck
she
this.
knew that shit was about to go down.
Right.
Like she knew that shit was about to go down. And at that point, everything that was fantasy to you is about to come crashing into
Yeah.
reality.
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
here it comes. I also think part of it was also if she's at the hospital that night, she has a real legitimate reason
Out.
to not be at the manhole cover to get them.
Yep.
So
Yep.
after the 11 p.m. bed check, Matt and Sweat leave dummies in their beds made from clothes from the laundry, and they sneak out through the holes they'd created, and they've got 7 hours until the next bed check, and they shimmy up this pipe, and like Sweat is like a thin man. Matt is not as thin, so Sweat like shimmies up first, and then he like throws the like sheet down and pulls Matt through through the
Shit.
pipe. Matt also left 2 notes. One reads, "You left me no choice but to grow old and die in here. I had to do something." So they get out, and then Sweat leaves a sticky note that says "Have a nice day" on the back of the manhole cover. So if they go through the same way, that's what they'll see. When they get to the manhole, they realize Joyce isn't there, and they start to like panic a little bit. You're in the middle of the street, only like
In prison.
how far away from that prison?
Yeah,
Like you're not
right.
very far away. So they
Right.
go bolting. They run through some guy's backyard and he like yells at them and they have to like, make up an excuse. They're panicking right now because they fully expected. Joyce had done everything
Yeah.
they'd
Right.
asked her to do
Yeah.
up until this point. They fully expected her to be there and she wasn't there. So they go on the run on foot, like through the woods. It didn't really take very long for police to kind of zero in on Joyce. First of all, she didn't go to work the next day because she was coming home from the hospital, and that's the first people they looked at. They
Right.
examined.
Yeah.
The first people they examined were the people who weren't there. Then they noticed
And she
the
had the fucking report.
investigation
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
her and Sweat. And then the final straw was when they were talking to the family. They talked to the daughter of Richard Matt. And he says, well, I had some communication with my dad. He had sent someone here. She had been communicating with her dad through Joyce.
Wow.
And so she gave the police, it said in her phone, like, Joyce Clinton Correctional.
Right.
And she gave the police Joyce's phone number.
Oh
So
my God.
they went and arrested Joyce. At this point, there's hundreds of law enforcement in this town. Can you imagine living in this town
No.
where there's 2 violent murderers who have escaped
Oh
from
my
prison
God.
and you're in this small town?
I mean, legitimately, like, mega violent.
Yeah, mega
Yeah.
violent human beings.
Right.
Murderers, yeah.
Who obviously, like, I mean, everyone has a fight or flight instinct or whatever, but their fight instinct is such that
Heightened.
it's just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was unnecessary
Right.
violence.
Yeah.
So a week after the escape, Joyce is arrested. 9 days after the escape, Matt and Sweat are still on the run. The town is in absolute fear.
Panic.
They show clips of people are walking around with their guns. They're terrified. This woman's like, I just locked my doors. Typical small town. She's like, I just locked my doors for the first time in 30 years. I'm like, also,
prison town.
don't fucking tell people that. Too.
Also, I'm sorry, but it's 2015.
You
I'm
live in a prison town.
You
My
live in a-
doors would always be locked.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, they've been locked since the 80s in the Johnny Gosh case.
What you
Come
doing?
on.
What are you doing?
Lock your doors always, even
Lock
if you
your
are in a
fucking
small
door.
town.
Yes.
Come on, read a Truman Capote book and fucking take care of yourself.
Jesus Christ,
Jesus.
right? My God, we've all read In Cold Blood. Get it together.
Get it together. This isn't a fucking normal Rockwell painting.
Yeah.
This is
No.
real fucking life. Lock your
there's
doors.
not many Norman
always,
Rockwell paintings that
always,
take place
always,
in prison
always.
towns.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a Stephen King novel that
Yeah.
takes place in a prison town.
Yeah.
No shit.
So Joyce, meanwhile, begins attending her court dates, and she details her involvement, and all of that begins leaking out. She admits to everything. The press is going bananas. I remember when this happened.
Dude, yeah, me too.
They
That's why I
called
was
her-
I knew.
They called her, and this is fucked up, but they called her it was Shaw Skank.
Oh.
It's really fucked up, but I remember that. I remember being all over my Facebook.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's
glad I
fucked
didn't
up.
see that.
It's not okay.
That's not okay.
It's not okay.
So to make it, Sweat and Matt are, because at this time there are tons of hunting cabins that are not being used.
Sure.
So they are just living it up. They're going from hunting cabin to hunting cabin. They've stolen food, they've stolen weapons, they're drinking beer, they're having a grand old time.
And then they get eaten by a bear. The end.
But their
Fucking
relationship
great.
begins to sour because where Sweat is younger and he's I'm getting to freedom. He's
Well, they don't have to
headed
stay
north.
together. Why do they have to stay together?
Because that was their plan from the beginning, was to stay together. And then Matt is
Plans
talking
change.
about they're never going to take me alive, and his talk was starting to get really aggravate Sweat.
Oh, yeah.
So their relationship starts to sour. 17 days.
From what I remember, Sweat is the smarter one of the two.
I think
Right?
I think Richard Matt is more brute force,
Yeah.
and Sweat is smarter.
Yeah. Where he's just this fucking idiot's gonna get me.
Yeah,
caught.
exactly.
Yeah.
Matt was manipulative. That was his that was Matt's charm, was that his skill was that he could manipulate anybody.
Mhm.
And that doesn't really do you any good in the middle of the woods. Just
Right.
the two of
Right.
you.
Yeah.
So 17 days after their escape, law officials find evidence in one of the cabins, and they begin kind of closing in at this point because they got sloppy. They started
Yeah.
leaving shit around. 18 days in, they're being pursued or something's happening, and Matt cannot keep up because he's older, he's bigger. So Sweat's you know what? I kept my end of the bargain by getting you out. Deuces, you're on your own. And he takes off and leaves Matt alone in the woods. And Matt is helpless by himself. He cannot do anything by himself. And this fucking
Sorry
dummy,
about ya.
sorry about you. This dummy shoots his gun. I think he had a drinking problem. He was drinking quite a bit. He shoots his gun at a trailer and then shoots it again for some reason. They get notified that shots were fired, so they close in.
Jesus.
One of the police officers sees Matt laying down with a gun pointed at him. So police officers
Bye.
bye,
Yeah.
and
Which was
shoots,
probably all his plan all along.
shoots and he
Suicide
didn't
by
want to be
cop.
taken back
Yeah.
in. So
Yeah.
and that's what Joyce says. She finds out the news in prison, and she's like, I knew that's how that was going to
Why
end.
does she still got her job at the prison?
No, she's in
prison.
okay.
Yeah,
in
she's,
it.
she's
Sorry.
been
Sorry.
arrested.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Oh, wait, what?
Excuse me.
Wait, you have to keep your job that way?
So 2 days after Matt is killed, Sweat is found 3 miles from the Canadian border, and he's like, I'm a book it. Which I'm like, you thought you were going to run 3 miles?
3 miles to freedom.
Honey, I mean, that's close, but it's not that close. So Joyce pleads guilty to 2 charges, a felony charge of promoting prison contraband and a misdemeanor of criminal facilitation in the 4th degree. On September 28th, 2015, she's sentenced to 7 years in prison. And she seemed to have genuine remorse. Like, she seemed to be really upset about the things she'd done. But the judge said that, but the judge was like, hey, New York State incurred over $23 million in overtime costs alone hunting them down. So sorry about you. We got to put you in jail for at least 7 years.
Yeah.
David Sweat is back in prison serving his life sentence with an additional, and this was suspect to me, with an additional 3.5 to 7 years for the escape. I'm like, he got less or the same as Joyce for actually escaping?
Right.
But I mean, the only thing he
wouldn't
did
have,
was
he
escape.
wouldn't have been able to if not for her facilitation.
I mean, absolutely. But like, he went on the run.
Yeah.
They were searching for him though. Like,
Right. Yeah.
and like, he should have gotten at least the same as her. And they're like 3.5 to 7.
Honestly, like 7 years for her, I'm like, there are times where I'm like, our justice system is fucked. It's so unfair and
yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But I'm like,
That seems
that
fair.
seems fair.
No, I
I'm
think
good
7
with that.
years is
7 years,
fair.
I'm
I
like,
think 7 years
fair.
is fair. Like, you incurred $23 million
yeah,
in
I'm like,
fees, lady.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
yeah.
So Joyce has been denied parole twice and will be again eligible for parole in June of 2019. Her husband stands by her side, as does her son, who fully says that she's a 100% victim in this situation.
Well,
Okay.
You can be a victim and also be fucking 100% guilty of what the fuck you did.
She
you're
got
culpable.
the right.
She
She
got
got the
caught
right.
up, and this is why this is such a fucking phenomenal, crazy in love story. So well done.
Thank you.
Well done, because it's such a really interesting story. Caught my radar when it came out and stuff too, where I was just like, that's really sad, because I understand that
That
we
level.
all want to be seen and we all want to be like desired and everything. And I get how you can get
I get
caught
it
up,
to a
but,
point.
like,
I get it to a point. And I feel like
Exactly.
she
Yeah.
crossed that line.
She
I feel like
did.
as soon as you brought in those hacksaws, everything
Right.
up
Yeah.
until that, honestly, everything
She
up
had
until
to have
that,
known, like, you have to have a level of honesty with yourself
and awareness.
and that,
yeah.
and awareness.
Mhm.
And that's what I think a lot of people don't have, is just that.
Exactly.
Awareness.
Where
Self-awareness.
I'm just like, where it's like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like, you can get to a point where maybe you can lie to yourself enough to a point.
Well,
but then
I
when
mean,
they start, you know what I mean? And then
honestly-
you're like, okay, they're just using me to get out of here.
Right.
Come
I mean,
on.
honestly,
Right.
everything up until that point, I could completely, like, even though she was totes hardcore breaking the law, like,
she
you
was
cannot
just like-
fuck inmates. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
But
Hi.
everything up until that point, I could give her a slide on, because I'm like,
Where
I
she's
get
like,
it.
Maybe it's because they're so hard up here and they don't get females, and it's like she could get lost in the fantasy a little bit, but when they start asking for escape tools, it's like she knew enough,
Yeah.
and she knew in her fucking heart, and that's the reason why she had that panic attack
Yeah.
when it was finally going to go down, is because she fucking knew. She's like, okay, this is
Well, and-
legitimately like, and she knew she was going to get caught,
And you know what
she knew
they-
she was going to get caught.
You know what
Yeah.
they did too. So even if you don't think they're going to escape, what do you think they're going to do with a chisel and a hacksaw? They're
Right.
violent criminals,
Right.
in a prison. Bare minimum, you're responsible for getting someone else hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so there's where she loses me, and
Me too.
It is a fascinating story, because I do understand,
Yeah.
like, getting. You look at this
Wrapped
woman and
up.
you're like, she just wanted her life rattled. Like, she
Yeah.
needed,
She just
needed
something.
attention.
Yeah.
And you do get wrapped up in this fantasy, even if you don't really think it's going to happen. This idea that, oh my gosh, how exciting would it be to go on the run and like get to spend, my life with this person.
Ladies
like,
and gentlemen, pay attention to your significant other for just
Lyle,
once.
honey.
Just every once in a while.
I'm just saying, one of the biggest arguments that I've had with another person was why it was important to spend time on a birthday.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I've
I
had
mean, I
that.
still sometimes will go up to Chris just out of the blue and be like, "You look really good. I like that outfit. You look nice today," or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, what the fuck is wrong with that?
That
I
goes so
know,
far. It goes so far.
So
Just
far.
little
You make
things.
somebody feel so good in those little fucking gestures, because people just want to be seen. They want to be important.
She felt
They want
invisible.
to fucking matter.
She felt
Oh my God,
invisible.
it's that. Do you guys ever watch 911?
I've never
There's
seen
an
that, no.
episode on 911 where she's like standing on this like over freeway over
Overpass.
Thank you, Overpass. And she's like on this sign and she's like, I just want you to see me. And it's so that moment.
Yeah,
It's this, like,
I think she
just
felt
see me.
completely invisible. And I'm not going to do what I feel like this documentary did a lot, which was like,
Give her an out.
Give her an out because you're responsible for what you've done, and you shouldn't have done this. You put a lot of people in jeopardy.
Yeah.
You terrorized that poor town.
Yeah.
They were terrified. You know,
And should have been, because those
And the
people were
punishment fits the
fucking
crime.
psychopaths.
Yeah.
And they were manipulators.
And her punishment fits the crime. She
right.
deserved
7 years is what
she deserved
Yeah.
it.
you know. Yeah. But yeah, I that story is so
Crazy.
bananas to me.
Yes.
There is a Showtime movie that I want to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Patricia Arquette
Dude,
plays
especially
her.
if Patricia Arquette, because
Benicio
she's
del Toro plays Richard Matt.
Yeah.
And Paul Dano plays.
Well,
oh my
as-
God. Well,
yeah,
Here's what
we're
we're doing right now.
plays Sweat.
All right, let's hurry up and wrap this up.
by the way, like unconnected thing. Every time you said sweat,
I
for
know.
some reason, I was thinking R. Kelly, and it had to have been because I saw
I was thinking
today,
Keith Sweat.
and it was
I thought
it was
Keith
on my radar that the Surviving R.
Oh,
Kelly
yeah.
docuseries
Yes.
is out, and I hadn't seen it,
I haven't
and
seen
it's
it yet either.
supposedly fucking hamburgers,
Oh.
That man.
What is that? I don't even know about this.
dude. Yeah, it's a whole docuseries on what a piece of shit R. Kelly
Well,
is.
Can't wait.
He
What's
basically
it
like
on?
locked people, like he locked women in his home. It was like a R. Kelly cult. We'll talk.
Oh my God, it's insane.
I didn't know there was a documentary though. I know about like the crazy.
It's like a docu-series, not even a documentary.
What's it on?
And I forget what it's on, but it's called Surviving R. Kelly. And I read some of the craziest like things about it so far that have aired so far from
That man
from
is
people.
such garbage.
So I don't know
care
why,
how much I
like,
love Ignition.
Every time
I
you said
can't.
sweat, I was like, I don't know why I'm thinking of R. Kelly right now.
But
But
it was
it's gotta
also
be 'cause
creepy
it's in my head.
when she was talking about them because she would call them Mr. Matt or Mr. Sweat like every time she talked about them, which was very weird. Because I'm like,
that's
did you call
weird.
them? Did you call him Mr. Sweat when he or Mr. Matt when he was like?
Fucking you?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Creepy.
It's
That's
on
weird.
Lifetime.
It's
Even
on Lifetime.
better.
Even better.
Somebody wrote the first article that comes up is only 2 hours into Surviving R. Kelly. The conclusion is simple: Black girls deserve better.
Oh,
No shit.
no shit.
Womp, womp,
No shit.
womp.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Price is
Yeah.
Right.
so
So our easy wrap up, which
with
is
that said,
we've got a website, so you should go and check it out.
myworstdatepodcast.com.
Yes,
It has
so from-
everything you need.
from there, you can get to our Patreon. You can get to all of our social medias. You can even shoot us a line on there. We have a contact us page. You can also get tickets to our live shows. We have 2 shows coming up February 8th and 9th in North Hollywood. So if you're an LA local or anywhere nearby, go there and you can get a direct link to our Eventbrite page.
And we are still accepting stories for that live show.
Yes.
So
we want very good ones for our live show. So if you have a great one that you've been sitting on, now is the time.
Great is a relative term. Do you have just a fucking shit show of a date? You gotta share it. We will keep it anonymous if you'd like, or we'll shout you out for being able to survive something so terrible. So please write in all your fucking stories because, you know, as someone out here who's living them, it makes me A, feel better, and B, like we'll get to have fun and laugh together because misery loves company.
Absolutely.
So,
Mm-hmm.
well, thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers. Hi, this is Mouse.
I'm Weens.
And we have the Mouse and Weens podcast.
Come listen.
We're a couple of sisters.
It's great.
Is this the Muppets?
Yep.
I'm a mom.
I'm a kid.
I'm a mom in San Diego with a bunch of kids.
I'm single and alone because I'm an adult baby. Go ahead. Quick.
She's in Hollywood.
All
and
right,
she's
listen
awesome.
to us. Come on. I don't know. Go. Give 7 seconds.
Life, love, and pubic hair people. Come take a listen.
See you later.
Bye.
This is a Glass Box Media podcast.